UFC 260. Are you kidding me? What a night in Vegas. We welcome in UFC Hall of Famer Rashad Evans and CBS Sports combat analyst Brian Campbell. Stipe Miocic gets knocked out by Francis Ngannou. Rashad, your reaction was what?
Man, I was just so impressed. You know, the improvements of Francis Ngannou is just so evident, you know, and I knew going into this fight, he made drastic improvements on the ground game and just his understanding of the grappling, you know, arts. And, you know, he went and proved it. But what stood out to me most importantly was just his patience throughout this whole entire fight and how systematically how he came in. He didn't start punching at the head. He started punching at the body. And the reason why he started punching at the body was just in case Stipe was going to try to shoot underneath his arms and try to go for the body, the takedown right out the gate. So he made it really uncomfortable for Stipe to do that just by throwing some hard shots at his body and making it hard for Stipe to lower his level. Then once he had him going with that, he started faking and feinting. So then he knew that then Stipe started getting on his heels because he was on, you know, the pressure that Francis was coming with. Then after that, the big shots started coming. And then once the big shots started coming, it was just a matter of time before Francis found the big shot and put Stipe out. Great fight by Francis. And now he is absolutely, I mean, not now, but even more so now, he's looking even more like a beast than he was before this fight.
Rashad, Francis Ngannou is a bad man. How scary is this going to be for every single UFC heavyweight going up against him after this? Look, let's be honest here. Even if Francis did not improve at all in the 3 years since his loss to Stipe in their first fight, he was still going to have a chance to get a knockout because he's that scary of an individual. But when you add in takedown defense, a top game from behind, he looked like a prime Brock Lesnar against Frank Mir, and then the poison patience that Rashad talked about. High kicks. What else could this guy show you when you look at a physical beast, a freak of nature who can get you out of there with almost any of his four limbs, and you add in the patience, the poise, the championship level of adjustments, you are seeing a very, very scary individual. Let's make no mistake about it. Stipe Miocic getting out of that first round, there's basically no other heavyweights who could have done that. He showed an incredible chin, resolve, and he came out in round two, as we saw, looking to try to make some adjustments and win that fight. But yet it was a stiff jab that really began the beginning of the end for Stipe. This version of Francis Ngannou with this many tools, watch out, okay? You got little bit of minus money with Francis as a small favorite. Moving forward, betting-wise, you're not going to get anything close to it. This guy, it's his time. He's a destroyer.
Yeah, that was absolutely impressive, taking down the champ Francis Ngannou. All right, so what's next? Are we getting Francis Ngannou against Jon Jones in his heavyweight debut, BC? Because, I mean, can you imagine what this might be? Jon Jones tweeting out, "Show me the money." Like, no, show me the fight. As you always say, inject this fight into my veins, BC.
Look, if I'm Dana White and UFC brass, I'm giving Jon whatever he wants. Why? Because he's the greatest of all time, and because what Joe Rogan said on the broadcast was not incorrect. This is one of the biggest fights in the history of this sport. Francis Ngannou was, let's say, MMA's answer to Mike Tyson, someone who was in his initial rise. You know, Dana White and company were drooling at the potential of what this guy could be from a marketing force, knowing he could destroy anybody. Well, now you've got the greatest of all time, the light heavyweight champion of the world who gave up his title to move up. This is the fight to make. It's perfect styles in terms of the contrast, perfect personalities. I don't care what it takes. You put the money on the table and you make this fight. Because if Francis Ngannou gets by Jon Jones, he may end up being the biggest star in this entire sport. And that's no joke. When you have that kind of power and that ability to draw people to come see it, this is a match made in heaven.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see this fight. I mean, this is the fight to see. I mean, Jon Jones going up is already going to be something that's going to make his legacy just grow in stature. But, I mean, he's going against a very tough Francis Ngannou. And Francis, with this ability to stop the takedown and patience fighting, and also the ability to use these smaller punches, not loading up with so much power, is going to be able to make him a much more of a threat and a dangerous striker, a much dangerous combination striker. He's going to present a lot of tools that Jon Jones is not used to, going in there with a long reach, and Jon Jones not used to going in there with somebody with a long reach and with some of the same tools and attributes in which he has. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup, and I'm just wondering how Jon Jones was feeling watching that fight, because me watching that fight, when I seen Stipe go down like that, a piece of my stomach hurt a little bit, but not for myself, for Jon Jones.
Wow. I mean, just think about the poster we're about to get. I mean, Jon Jones, Francis Ngannou, and BC, you mentioned in terms of the odds here that Francis Ngannou not going to be a -140 favorite. What would you set the odds facing Jon Jones in his heavyweight debut for the title?
Well, look, let's let one thing straight here. I think Jon Jones is the greatest fighter who's ever stepped foot in the octagon. I have predicted many times on the record that when he moves up to heavyweight, because it's felt inevitable for 6, 7, 8 years, I don't think he's going to lose. But I said all of that before I saw this version of Francis Ngannou. That's why I picked Stipe to win this in the rematch, because he was better in almost every single category coming in. Turns out that's not the case. After what we just saw in the way Ngannou dispatched Miocic, who again came to fight, had a great game plan, had a great chin, you not only have to have him as a favorite over Jon Jones, I don't want to say comfortable favorite, but can we go -250, something in that ballpark? Because I don't care how good you are or what skills you have. When you mix size with freak athleticism, with undeniable power, and oh, by the way, like we mentioned, now he's at least functional in some of these categories, you're looking at one of the most potential dominant forces combat sports has seen. Yes, that's putting the cart before the horse. This was one fight, but this one fight was against the greatest heavyweight of all time in Stipe Miocic. I don't see how you could not almost overwhelmingly favor the idea of Ngannou beating Jones.
Mystic Rashad had Francis Ngannou winning the UFC heavyweight championship. He had that. He predicted it. He saw it all the way through. Mystic Rashad, you got to now look into your crystal ball here. Your early lean. Who you taking? Francis Ngannou or Jon Jones?
Oh, man, you got to put me on the spot. But listen, this
early
is what I'm
lean.
here for. I don't mind it. Early lane. I got to go with Francis on this one. I just think, looking at the videos that I've seen of Jon Jones, he's been putting on some weight and he's been looking pretty good and impressive, putting on that size. But the truth of the matter is he's slowed down a bit. And who knows how much power he has even at that weight class. But we know the power that Francis has. We know the speed that he has. And he's getting better. And not only is getting better with just his patience inside the octagon, but his overall smartness inside the cage. He was very smart and methodical how he systematically went about that fight. So if he can bring this approach to a fight with Jon Jones, then Jon Jones has a scary man on his hands, and I think that Francis wins that fight.
Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou, BC. I mean, are you kidding me? Let's go. Let's go.
I mean, he's gonna have to pick Stipe's soul out of his fingernails first, but after that, inject it. I'm ready. Okay.
That's gonna be some heck of a fight. What a fight it was on this night, though. Francis Ngannou now stepping in and stepping up as the new UFC heavyweight champion. Perhaps a fight coming up against Jon Jones in his heavyweight debut. It is set up to be spectacular. Speaking of spectacular, you can always get spectacular content from Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell on Morning Combat. They will deliver a full breakdown of UFC 260 and what is next. You can watch the series on YouTube, listen to the podcast on Apple and Spotify, download and subscribe today.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.